Hey, what's up, Culture Drop? I have a very juicy topic today. This video is about, we had a heated argument, a blowout, a really bad interaction. Where do we go from there? How do we sort of pick up the pieces and heal that situation, a relationship, and move forward? Okay, I've got a lot to cover in this. This is a big topic and we only have 5 minutes, so I'm just gonna get right into it, not waste any time. Broken this down into 5 kind of steps in terms of how do you pick up the pieces and go forward. So here we go. Step 1, reflect. Take an honest inventory of how you showed up in that interaction. So take a look at sort of the things that you said, how you contributed to that situation. If you became emotionally charged or fired up, it's like what things caused that for you. Remember that some of those things don't belong to the other person. There are things that trigger you because your mom did them or whatever. So like take ownership of how you showed up and really kind of self-reflect about, so like how did you contribute to that? What things happened in that you aren't proud of, that you wouldn't want to repeat? How did you contribute to things escalating to how they did? And just like really take an ego-free look at how did I make that worse? How did I contribute to that? What was my sort of like part in egging on the other person and elevating them? Just like an honest reflection inventory of like, how did I show up there? Step number 2, invite. Go back to the other person, and this is like assuming that you want to repair this relationship, which hopefully that you do. Invite that person, have a conversation, an invitation to that person, be like, hey, that didn't go the way that either of us liked, didn't feel great. Are you open to like revisiting that? Can we have a conversation? Can we sort of like sort through what happened and kind of like talk about that? I'd like to hear your perspective, and just like, you know, obviously I don't want to leave things where they are. It's nice to invite someone versus like force that conversation upon them, right? It's like if someone's not ready to have that conversation or whatever, but an invitation is a nice soft way into like, hey, I'd like to talk about what happened. I'd like to sort of like make this right. Number 3, take ownership and apologize. To start off the conversation, to come back to that conversation with that person after you've reflected, I think it's great to be like, hey, I just need to take ownership of these things that I said, that I did, that I became emotionally heightened or whatever, and like really kind of take ownership of how you contributed to that situation and apologize, make amends, be like, you know, I know that you, for example, like I know that you don't like it if I bring up things from the past and I did that and I apologize. Find areas to make amends, take full ownership of how you showed up in that circumstance, right? To just sort of be like, I'm not proud of this. I wish that I hadn't said these things or whatever it is. Take full ownership, very important. Step number 4, allow everybody to empty their cups. I love that phrase, I stole it. I've heard it a number of places, but my friend Tina Radicki, she's brilliant. I think I stole that from her, but give both people an opportunity to explain themselves in a time when it's not dialogue back and forth, right? So for me, if I'm coming to you, I'm saying, I want you to just sort of empty your cup, everything that's going on for you, your perspective, your assumptions, your feelings, just give that other person an opportunity for 3 or 4 or 5 minutes or longer to just talk without me responding, without having any rebuttals, just to hear them out. And at the end of them talking, I will recap what I heard. This is what I heard you say, you feel like this, right? When that person's gone, give me an opportunity to do the same thing. These are assumptions I've made. This is right, these are like things that I'm feeling. This is what sort of triggers me. This is why this thing bothers me, etc. Give both people a chance to empty their cup without interruption, just to be heard and listened to, and then repeated back what they said. Really, really important to sort of like resolve things, to be like, let me clarify and understand truly what you're feeling and where you're coming from without having to defend or deflect or change your opinion, just to listen and make you feel listened to. Step number 5, which is growth, I will call it, but the opportunity for you, having heard each other out, to kind of reflect and be like, okay, this is what went wrong. This is why, this is what bothers me about the way things are said, or this sort of like interaction or like our relationship. So now that I have a deeper understanding and you also have a deeper understanding, we've made some clarifications in terms of where you're coming from, right? Just an opportunity this is a chance for us to say, moving forward, how can we avoid this thing before? These types of interactions are not healthy to a relationship. They don't feel great. So, you know, here's what I'm willing to do going forward. Take into account what you said. This is a chance for both people to say, this is sort of our agreement going forward in terms of how we'll handle these things, right? What to be aware of around the other person, things that trigger them, etc., that we can avoid so that we can hopefully not have these kind of interactions again in the future. Whew. I'm actually proud of myself that this isn't like a 12-minute video that we have to cut down to 5. Like, that was really succinct. There's a lot of ground to cover. This covers a lot of different relationships at work, personal, romantic relationships, etc. But I think this is a really important conversation. The ability to do this when we slip up, when we have bad interactions. The most important thing is don't repeat things, right? It's like, it doesn't mean anything to apologize to someone and then do the exact same thing 2 or 3 or 4 more times. Like when you apologize, mean it, right? When you have these conversations, take to heart what you hear from the other person so that you can have a better relationship moving forward. We don't repeat the same mistakes and static. Okay, that's it. Go be awesome. Thanks for watching and tuning in. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have our weekly email list, The Culture Drop. You can subscribe to that and get these emails right in your inbox. Follow our social media channels. Put out a lot of free content around being more awesome and building great teams.